Hey there, and welcome to another episode of The Grand Akin Show. If you couldn't tell, it's getting to be Christmas time here, and so I would love to actually find out from you guys down in the comments below, what is your favorite part about Christmas? I'm guessing there's going to be a whole bunch of different options, but when I think about it, I think whatever it is you're going to say for your favorite part of Christmas, it's going to tie into this kind of special feeling that Christmas has. And without really even being able to put words on it, I know that you know what I mean. There's just a different feeling in the air. You know, peace on earth, goodwill towards men. Christmas just feels different. There's a spirit of generosity. And so what I wanted to do today for our episode is actually continue our periodic series Beyond Real Estate and look at the topic of generosity. So what I wanted to do was look at kind of the origins briefly of generosity and this idea of giving in Christmas. And you can really go from any number of ways. I mean, and even if you approach it from the secular standpoint and you went all the way back to the way Christmas was originally celebrated, with it being almost like a Mardi Gras festival and people who are less fortunate, banging on doors and carousing and having more wealthy people give them things to kind of satisfy them, or even in a more modern context, people being more generous this time of year, getting those last minute tax deductions in before the tax year is done. We see generosity in a secular sense, but then even if we approach it from a more spiritual aspect, within the Christian tradition, the gifts that the Magi gave to the Christ child when he was a boy, we see generosity all around. And generosity is something that I think is just ingrained in the holidays. When it comes to even your own family, I'm sure you can probably think of an act of generosity that was given to you at some point in your life. Maybe it was a present that you received as a child, or just someone who went out of their way for you. I think we can all think of these kinds of memories. And I know that I definitely have some, and I'll save you the time, but I'm already getting kind of emotional just thinking about the ways that people have been generous to me in the past around the season. And so what I think is so cool is that regardless of how you look at it, regardless of whether you celebrate Christmas as a religious holiday or not, we all have this understanding, and we all have this realization that it's good to be generous. And I think even if we look at the first Christmas, if we look at Christ's birth, even the fact that the Lord gave us his son, that generous gift that he gave us, I think that kind of lays the foundation for everything. And you can say I'm biased, and that's fine. But I think that spirit of giving, doing something that he didn't have to do, but because he loved us and he wanted to draw us to himself, and he sent his son, Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us, I just think that's such a cool and amazing gift. And so even though maybe Christmas wasn't initially about Jesus' birth, and I don't think any really earnest or honest Christian would say, yes, I believe December 25th is Jesus' birthday, there's still that spirit of giving that we see from the Father in giving us his son. And I think we all get that. We all have that longing in our hearts. And I think that's what makes Christmas so special, this generous spirit that we get to enjoy fully and without reservation. Because other times during the year, you're stressed, you're afraid, you feel like you're behind, you feel like you don't have enough. But Christmas, we kind of all just have this understanding, yeah, but now we can be generous. And how many of you, have been really frustrated or saddened in the past once Christmas passes, because then we're left, at least here in Wisconsin, we're left with the snow and the cold, but not that same spirit of generosity. And so I think for us, the real challenge is, how do we maintain this? How do we continue to maintain a generous spirit throughout the rest of the year? And I got to say, I really don't think apart from the Lord it's possible. It's easy to give from abundance, but to be able to give out of scarcity and to continue doing that, I think without the love of Christ, without that joy and that hope and that foundation, I really don't think it's possible. And so my hope for you is that you know the Lord, that you have the chance to abide in him and to know that he's enough, and so that you can receive from him and give to others throughout the whole year. I'm sorry, but without that though, and I've felt that temptation myself of feeling like, oh, I don't have enough, because this has been a really hard year. This has been a really hard year for me and my family. And so the thought of being generous scares me. It scares me a lot because I feel like I don't have much to give. But because of realizing how blessed I am and how much I have been given, I can still be generous. And so I think that's really the key. And it's, I hate to make it seem like it's this really big deal, like, oh, well, if you're not a Christian, you can't be generous the rest of the year. But I think that's got to be where it starts, and if you don't know what that means, or if you want to understand more, feel free to let me know. You get my contact information at the end of all these videos. Give me a call, shoot me a line, shoot me an email. Hey, Grant, I saw your video. You cried. That was kind of awkward. But like, what's all this Jesus stuff about? I'd love to help you. But I love Christmas. Thanksgiving's still my favorite holiday, but I do love Christmas and the spirit of generosity that we see, that we all understand wherever we're at on whatever spectrum you want to say. We all understand that we're supposed to be generous. And this is kind of a unique time. And so I'm hoping that you are blessed during this time. I'm hoping that you are encouraged during this time. I'm hoping that you get to draw near to the source of generosity during this time. And other than that, that's about all I've got. I love you guys a lot. I really enjoy doing these Beyond Real Estate videos because even though, the channel's about real estate, there's so much more to life. And so I'm hoping that you see a little bit of that here. But as always, I love you guys a bunch. I'd love to hear from you. Standard caveats, any love that you can show the channel. I'd appreciate it. Likes, comments, shares, subscribes, all that stuff. But I love you. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. I think like 93% of Americans celebrate Christmas. So Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, Happy Holidays. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.